Moral of the story and the theme of this song, just give them a call and it won't be long till your washing machine is up and going. Till your washing machine is up and going. Yeah, that's all America washer dryer repair, John. That's my kind of thing, you know. And
Yeah.
so I've been doing that for a little while. You've got Combat Air, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me about that. Tell me about putting in air conditioning and heating and being on call when somebody's stuff ain't working. That's an emergency, right?
Can be. As a matter of fact, I just got a call a few minutes ago from a guy, and I said, "Look, I can't make it. I got an appointment at 7 o'clock to be on here with you." So I said, "Look, it's not that hot yet." And he goes, "You're right. I can wait until tomorrow." But yeah,
Oh yeah.
Combat Air Heating and Cooling. We do heating and air conditioning service here in the Panhandle of Florida. Um, been doing the business for about a year and a half, and it's been awesome. Been
Oh,
awesome.
that's great. That's great. I'm here with Sergeant First Class retired John Thornton tonight on Heroes I Know. Thanks for hanging out with me. We got a few people that are jumping on. Thanks. If you got a message for John, please leave it. Say hi if you're watching. You got something to say. Joe Benson says cool. He's my partner. Joe and I, we do this, and this is kind of what we're doing. John, let me take an opportunity to share, if you don't mind, about some of the things we got going on. We've got donor programs. Formerforce.com. If you want to support, please go to formerforce.com. That's our website. And if you donate, that sends money directly to Joe and I. And we do this, really, we're doing it 4 nights a week. We're talking with heroes, and we're getting the stories. We're recording oral history of our heroes. And everybody's a hero. It's not... you don't have to be in the military. You don't look at it. There's one of our master rated donors right there. I don't know if you realize it, but he's got coin serial number 0003. That's Colonel retired T.W. Williams. He's just an absolute wonderful air defender and ranger, and so he says Rangers lead the way. He is a master rated donor, and thank you very much for your support, sir. We really appreciate it. Jackman, Calderon, Hackey, Evans, Cobos, Wino, Ridgeway, senior rated donors, Newton, Diaz, Shrum, Fernandez, Kirkendall, Allen. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your support. It is just so heart warming to get... Diaz, dude, I woke up to a new donation. Thank you so much for your support. And all of our basic donors, thank you very much. If you want to know how to be a senior donor, how to be a master rated donor, go on our website, formerforce.com, and check us out there. We really appreciate it. I have signed up for something that's interesting. I'm going to take a master class on streaming. And so we can get better at doing this and showcase our heroes every night. Let me just take an opportunity. Let's play our video, our slideshow. Where is that? How would I do that?
Let me tell you about the slideshow. My dad lives 1,000 miles from here.
Right.
He's 80 years old. He just learned how to use Facebook last year.
Right.
He called me before this went on live and said, "You haven't had time to work on the old cars because you're messing with a slideshow on Facebook."
Oh, wow.
I said, "Look, I didn't do that. My buddy did that." He goes, "There are some pretty cool pictures of you and your family in there." I said, "My buddy did that." He goes, "How did he do it?" I said, he must have got them off of my Facebook page because we're buddies.
That's right. That's right. If we take a time to tell the story and to look, our pictures do tell a great story. If we can check it out. So this is a slideshow I did for my buddy Ranger Thornton.
Do you ever think about it? How people fall in love. It's not the way that they look. That's from movies and books. It's a feeling that creeps inside. It ain't the fancy kind. It just builds over time and holds a spirit together when it tears. It's what I got inside. It's what I'll live and I'll try to give you all of my life. Honey, I love you like the real thing.
You call that Ranger TV?
Ranger TV, buddy. That was my backyard.
You don't have to hide them.
I love that picture right there.
You tell me something.
We were
about
visiting
you.
My first duty station in Alaska, and we were so tired we
In the
slept in the parking
places
lot
on
at
your
the restaurant.
back.
Wow.
You say need surgery.
I'm here with John Thornton, Sergeant First Class retired, Ranger, Jump Master. We were black hat buddies together.
Yes, sir.
Golly, man.
That was many moons ago, buddy. That's my two sisters.
So, she passed away.
The one on the motorcycle passed away 4 years ago this past October.
Wow.
They can see what they feel.
My wife and one of my little dogs. That's my mother and her sister.
That just can't be
That's the
There's
38
that
Chevy.
car. Yeah.
That my dad gave me that car.
That's awesome, right?
just builds over time, holds the spirit together when it tears.
That's a map of where I grew up. That's
I know it's
my dad.
cross-stitched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was me and my dad by the 38 Chevy. That's my wife caught that mahi down in the Bahamas. That's my sister's two granddaughters that passed away. That's me, and then my son, who went
Yeah.
to jump school also. It's me and my stepbrother. That's our 20th anniversary. Everybody says that's her 20th birthday, but
Yeah, right? Amen. It's neat doing these slideshows, right? It just really is, you know. Joe Benson says, "Welcome, team. Thanks for coming on and watching. We appreciate the viewers on. We had up to like 12 people there watching at one point, and so thank you very much. We really, really appreciate it. We're here with Sergeant First Class retired John Thornton, and we're going to tell stories. We're going to talk about, the kind of a, where I was and what happened and oh my gosh, and try to get some memories down, right, for your kids and grandkids, and try to tell the stories. It all came from Maggot, right? This started when Maggot got sick. Maggot was the guy that I replaced at the Advanced Airborne School.
Yep, I remember him.
And just a great buddy of mine, and he, got it like a tumor, and he couldn't remember yesterday, but he could tell the old story. So I got him on camera, and we recorded it, and this is kind of Heroes I Know started from that. And then Joe, please go to formerforce.com, check out our story. But Joe come up and designed a coin, and we put a serial number on the coin. And a thumb drive, a titanium thumb drive. Okay, so we want a Russian tank to be able to run over it and withstand it, right? And but your memories go on here. So the slideshow and the interview and all the pictures that I've downloaded goes on here. And then your relatives can fight over it one day. Maybe I wish I had my granddad's story, right?
Absolutely. I never met either one of my grandfathers, so it'd be awesome to hear their stories from back in the day when they were young men,
Yeah. And so what we have to do, and I saw Jerry Williams just interact with me. Jerry, if you're watching, I want you and Terry's story. I love you. We got to get these stories while we're still healthy, and we're in the mood to talk about it. Because the minute
Absolutely.
you get sick, you're like, just, it's just like the depression comes over you and you don't want to talk.
I want to feel better. That's all I want.
Amen. Yeah. So tell me, where are you from?
I'm from a small town it's called the Eastern Shore of Virginia, a small town of Exmoor. It might be 1,000 people.
Oh, wow.
If that.
Tiny. Yeah.
If that. And Grew up there until I went to college for a little bit. Didn't do much with that, and then seen some guys jumping out of a helicopter at Fort Lee. The riggers didn't know they were riggers. Didn't know nothing about the Army. And I said, well, I want to go. Well, I was in the National Guard first.
Oh,
I
okay.
did that,
Okay.
and well, that was something. And but one day I seen the riggers jumping out of helicopters over at Fort Lee. I was living near Fort Lee, and I told my cousin, I said, I'm gonna go join the Army and jump out of helicopters. He said,
Oh,
boy,
wow.
you're afraid of heights. I said, I know, but if that don't cure it, nothing will. And
Amen.
so I joined the Army at about age 22, active duty, and that's where it all began.
You always seemed a little bit older for your rank, I guess.
Well, like I said, I started later, so by the time I actually went on active duty, I was 23 years old in basic training, and by the time I got to my first duty station, all the other privates were 18, 19, and I'm 23, fixing to be 24. And so, yeah, I was a little bit older, a little bit more mature, had already experienced life. And so it was a little bit, actually, it was easier for me, I would say, you know.
Right, right. Did you find the army easy or hard?
There was both, both. There were some days, man, it was just like, wow, I can't believe people are complaining about this. This is great. I,
Right.
I tell people all the time, being in the air conditioning business, I didn't sleep in a room that had air conditioning in it until I joined the Army.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, what? I said, yeah. I said, I talked to my mom and said, Mom, the Army's not that great, but I've got air conditioning in my room where I sleep at night. It's awesome. It's awesome.
So tell me about growing up. With such a few people, you're in your 50s, right? You grew up in
Yeah,
the
I'm almost
70s,
60.
71.
I'm
What?
almost 60. I'll
Oh,
be 60
wow.
in 2 more years. I'm 58 years old in August. I grew up in Virginia. I was born in 64.
Right.
So I grew up in Virginia in the late 60s, early 70s. Um, Graduated high school in 82 and came in the Army active duty in 87. So,
Were you a good student as a kid?
no, no, it, I didn't like school.
Right.
And that's why it shocked everybody I went to college because I didn't like college either. But I stuck it out for 2.5 years. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not accomplishing anything.
Right.
And I think if a lot more of our young people would realize that everybody's not designed for college, doesn't make you dumb.
Right.
Uh, if you go out and work hard or find your niche, look, Will, this is from the heart, and I mean this. You're a smart guy. Washer and dryer repair is something that people would look down their nose at you and say, why are you a washer and dryer repair? I've always thought you were a smart guy,
Right.
very
Right. Right.
intelligent. I mean that. From look at Bennett, a professor at a university, smart guys, you know, and you don't have to be college material to be a smart guy. And so I decided not to do that, and I built homes for a while with family businesses. And then I said, I'm going to jump out of helicopters. And my cousin said, nope. And 2 weeks later, I was in the Army, full time, getting ready to go to jump school. And it's worked out. I couldn't ask for much more to be different.
Right. Right. So, like, as a kid, you said you had two sisters. Were they both
No, no,
older?
no. I had three older sisters.
Okay.
Um, One of them passed away about 15 years ago
Okay.
from cancer, the oldest one. And then my middle sister's still alive. And then my youngest sister, she's older than me by 1 year and 3 months to the day. She passed away from cancer 4 years ago. Um, and so I just have my one sibling left and my dad left. And that's our family. That's what's left.
Man, you need to go get cancer checked about every 10 minutes, man.
You would think so, but me and my middle sister, we're not the picture of health. But I'm 58, she's 60. Uh, we're not bad. You figure doing all those years in the Army, jumping out of planes, road marching. I stayed on jump status for 21 years, 7 months, and 11 days. Will I never
Dude.
I never was off jump status.
Wow.
Yeah, I was one of the fortunate guys that never had to leave that position, and I'm glad because I liked it. But and I'm walking straight. I could stand to lose a few pounds. My knees are okay. My back's, it is for a 58-year-old guy. It's not great, but it's not horrible. And she's in really good health. So, and my dad just turned 80.
Yay.
He's in awesome health.
Yay, yay. So
Absolutely.
tell me about your mom and dad growing up and the influence and stuff, you know.
My mom, definitely a big influence. She ran the house. Back in my mom and dad had 4 kids real young, real early. I'm the youngest of 4. Uh, my oldest sister was born in '60, and I was born in '64. So they had 4 really quick, and they were absolutely great parents. They did get separated and divorced when I was a little bit older, about 11, 12. But he was still around. He lived close by. He lived 15 minutes away. He did come get me, spent time with me. They did stuff with us, took us to baseball, other sporting events. They really looked out for us. They were really a big influence in our lives. Always there. You could call them, depend on them. When I was in the Army, there was no phone call that I ever sent their way that they weren't willing to take and listen to what's going on.
Amen.
Good
Amen.
Parents. Can't complain.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. So tell me about this vehicle that your dad gave you. Tell me about that. That's cool, right?
Yeah, well, when my dad got a little bit older and all the kids were out of the house, he decided he wanted to do antique vehicles. And so he started on a truck. It took him like 15 years to build this 1948 Chevy. And then he started doing another one and another one and another one. And then with 2 of my sisters passing away and my stepbrother passing away, he has 2 stepdaughters and me and my sister left. So he had 4 vehicles. And one day I was up visiting for something. It wasn't for his birthday, but I was up there visiting. And he goes, "Hey, you drove your truck. Can you pull a trailer?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I want you to take that 1938 Chevrolet home with you." He said, "I didn't sleep all night long. I want you to have it. I don't want to wait until I die to give it to you." I looked at him. His wife had made us breakfast. And I said, "He's dying." She goes, "No. He did not sleep all night long because he wanted to figure out how to give you that car without trying to hurt your feelings." And I said, "Well, I don't want to take it. It's his car." She goes, "If you don't take it, he ain't going to sleep. Take the car." I said, "I tell you what, I'll give you a couple months with it. If you change your mind, great. If you don't, when I come back up here for something, I'll tow it back down to home." 3 months goes by. He goes, "Your car's still sitting here. Come get it. I want you to have it and enjoy it while I'm alive so I can see the smile on your face that they brought me." And his wife said, "That's not the truth. Don't listen to him, John." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "He wants to build another one. He don't have any more space in his shop." And if you don't take it out of there, he can't build another one. And he's 80. He's too old to build another shop, but he's not too old to build another vehicle.
Yay. Amen.
I said, "I tell you what, I'll come get it. I'll take it home and I'll take good care of it." And it's kind of sparked an interest in me. So about 3 or 4 years, this was this past year, but like 3 or 4 years ago, all of my kids are growing up out of college, out of the house. It's just my wife and I. I started buying some older cars. I bought me a '63 Chevy pickup short bed step side. I bought me a '65 Chevy 2 Nova. And one of my Army buddies that I was here at the Ranger camp with, he's retired here, and we work on them together.
Oh, that's fun, right? Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
fun. Something to do, to keep you out of trouble. Costs a lot of money, but it keeps you out of trouble. The wife knows where you're at, what you're doing, and then we get to take them to car shows, ride them around, and people, when I take that 38, people look at that and they're like, "Man, I remember having that. I seen those when I was a kid all the time. Now you hardly ever see them." So
Amen.
brings back a lot of memories for people. It's awesome.
Do you remember when we got in a fight at the office? we were there on a black hat evening, and we were playing pool and
I
Dakin, I
do.
think. You
I
remember
do.
that? You
I
were the
do.
designated
I
driver
do.
that night. Remember that?
Yeah. And what's the big guy's name?
Bennett, Thornton,
No, no.
John
Yes, him.
Hines. John
Hines, the
Hines.
big guy, because he was big. He was tall, big.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Absolutely, I remember. Absolutely. I thought somebody was going to get in trouble that night. I got in trouble when I got home. I think I stayed in the van instead of going into the house. And then, because we got home so late, I think I stayed in the van.
You dropped me off, and I was like, because I was gonna be your co-driver, right?
Right,
You
I
were the
think so.
designated driver,
Yeah,
and then we
yeah.
didn't live that far apart, and
No,
so you come and pick me up first, and then I was like the last guy you dropped off or something, and yeah.
I do remember. That was a blast. We had a good time. You know, we're getting ready to do a big thing here with a bunch of the RIs.
Right.
They're coming in from different places throughout our era of being, serving here together. And there's a few that live here. There's quite a few. There's probably about 30 or 40 of us that live in the area, stayed here after we retired.
Right.
And some of them are saying, well, I don't really know if I want to do any of that stuff. I said, look, man, even if you don't golf, but come and hang out at the golf course. Because I'll tell you what's going to happen. One of us is going to pass away, and you're going to miss that opportunity to see that guy, shake his hand, tell a story about something that you guys did at one time together out at the Ranger camp or in the 82nd or, and you're going to miss that opportunity, and you can't get it back.
Amen.
You can't get it
Amen.
back. And
You need to
so,
you need to sponsor me and formerforce.com to come down there and record some of these memories. Sit
I
around a
could do that.
campfire.
I
Yeah.
could do that. I could do that. I'm telling you right now, Will, there are probably 20 guys that are here that were either 82nd, 82nd LURS, every other unit under the sun that you can think of that at one point in time were an RI down here. There's sergeant majors, there's first sergeants, there's lieutenant colonels. They're here. I went to a job year and a half. We'll just call it a year and a half. You know how that memory goes when you get older. Yeah. You remember the important parts of it. You don't remember the fine details.
Yeah.
But I went to this guy's house, and we go in. We're getting ready to change out his air conditioner, and I look on the wall, and I see all this Ranger memorabilia on the wall, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, you were in the Army?" Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. He's a little bit older than me, probably 10 or 15 years older. And he said, "Yeah, I used to work out at the Ranger camp." And I said, "Really?" And all of his stuff that he was talking just jived. It was just like, even though he was 15, 20 years my senior at being out there, it all jived. Everything he was saying, it was like we were old buddies that never had met, but we were still buddies. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed seeing his photos on the wall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So there's just such a legacy of those that came before us and that continue to come behind us that are just absolutely amazing. So you spent a large part of your career in the Ranger community, in the Ranger training community. Is that right?
Absolutely. Real short synopsis of my career. Basic AIT jump school. Went to 6ID up in Alaska. Got recruited to go to the LURS detachment. They did little interviews, and you had to accept to go to be on jump status. Volunteered to go to Ranger school. And a funny story about that, I didn't even know what Ranger school was.
Oh, really?
And they said, "Will you go?" And I'm like, "I guess." And they're like, "Okay, you know anything about it?" Nope. And so they said, "All right, great. You have two MOSs that we use, 11 Bravo, 31 Charlie. I have both of them from my National Guard time." And so they said, "All right, you're in." I said, "Okay, cool." So I get back to my room, call my mother. Mom, I'm going to go be a ranger. And my mom goes, well, you could have stayed here and been a forest ranger. No kidding. I'm like, Mom, I don't think that's the same, but I don't know because I don't know any more than you know, really, you know. And so I left from there, went to the 82nd. I spent a little time in 3505. Went down to Advanced Airborne School and was a black hat. Right after the accident here at the Ranger Camp in Florida, the government picked people by name to come down here and be instructors to fill that gap. And mine was one of the one name that was selected. I came down here, fought it, didn't want to come here. Got a job down here, stayed here, went to Korea, and had a little bit of problems with my ex-wife, and so I made a decision: come back here to be with my kids, or go back to the 82nd. So I picked here, and then and that's where I retired. So I spent a lot of time here. Some people are good at what they do, and look, you and I got to go to some great places when we were at Advanced Airborne School. Remember going to Israel and Egypt? Awesome. That was awesome. I enjoyed it. So that kind of wraps up my career.
Oh, that's awesome. So, tell me, did you go to Ranger School when you were a private in Alaska?
I was 1 year in the Army, just pinned on E4 because I had college. I was in E3 when I joined the Army, so I had just pinned on E4, and they were like, "Do you want to go to Ranger School?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go now. I'm ready." And went to Ranger School as a newly pinned E4, and all the RIs thought I was a lieutenant because I was older, but they thought, hey, he's got to be 23, 24. He's got to be a lieutenant. And I tell them, no, I'm a brand new pinned E4. No way, you're too old, But yeah, I went to Ranger School from Alaska. Been in the Army about a year.
Oh, wow.
I think it
So,
was the best time to go. I had no bad habits to really break.
yeah, right. And you were teachable and coachable because they teach you the stuff you need to know if you'll listen.
Absolutely.
And then get the cooperation. The biggest part of it was getting the cooperation of your peers, right? And I'm talking out of my butt because I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. Well, it's not to get the cooperation out of them. They're as tired and wore out as you are.
Right.
And the only reason you've got any motivation because you're trying to get your go so you can graduate on time and not get recycled. And so you're trying to motivate somebody who's just wore out. And it was difficult. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So tell me about your experience in Ranger School. Did you a 3-time recycling mountain phase, or right straight through?
I did. The only thing that would have just set me back so far when we came through Florida phase. It was wintertime and it was cold, and they don't have. And I'm not saying it was harder back then. I'm not going to go down that slippery slope. But the standards were a little bit different, and they didn't mind keeping you out in the cold, in the rain. And in Florida, February is not super cold, or January is actually January, but it was cold enough. And I told my ranger buddy, I said, "Look, man, if I recycle Florida, I might go home." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, man. This cold and wet. Cold's one thing, wet's one thing. Cold and wet is miserable."
Right.
And I didn't recycle. So yeah, that would have been something that set me back if I had recycled. I would have went through because I don't like to quit, but yeah. But yeah, I went straight through. It was difficult. But anything worth having is difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, so it's interesting those that try something and fail or have a medical situation or things.
Absolutely.
It's just like another story to tell. Those that go straight through first time, it's like, oh yeah, okay. It's like Jumpmaster School, right? We saw people that.
Oh my God!
Remember?
How many people do you know? How many people do you know that you say that when you fail, you're gonna blow snot bubbles out your nose and kick rocks to the gate? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
Intelligent, very, very intelligent, very, very, sharp people. But the pressure, the attention to detail, and the speed all combined was it was a task. It was a chore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look, I went to Jumpmaster school shortly after Ranger School as a specialist E4,
Oh, really? What year did you go to Jumpmaster School?
1989.
Oh, where at?
They did an MTT from Benning up in Alaska.
Oh, wow.
And
That's right. You're a Benning jump
that's
master.
right. And I was an E4. We had 6 slots for our unit. We only had 5 NCOs and our commander because he wasn't a jump master yet. And my first sergeant said, "We need an E4 to go to jump master school." And I said, "I'll go." And they're like, "Okay." And so I went as an E4, been in the Army less than 2 years. Now I'm going to jump master school on top of going to Ranger school and everything else in the year mark. And first time go straight through in jump master school as an E4. I'm not bragging. Luck was on my side. And you know the old saying, better to be lucky than good sometimes.
Amen. Amen. So,
You know?
so you showed up at Bragg as a Ranger qualified jump master sergeant or staff sergeant?
I was a staff sergeant. I made
Oh, wow.
I made E7 in 4 years.
You
I'm
made
sorry,
E6 in 4
E6
years.
in 4 years. E6
You
in 4
realize
years.
that's the minimum time,
I
right?
know.
It's 48 months. You cannot
Yeah.
make staff
Right.
sergeant sooner than that.
Right.
So you were picked as a golden boy, dude. You were
I
like,
was.
wow.
I was churning, and I got to Fort Bragg, and I was a senior rated jump master already, and I needed two. I think I needed 2 or 3 more jumps to get my master rated wings. Got here, got those pretty quick, and then a couple years down in the line, then I went to advanced airborne school.
Oh, wow.
And you
Tell
guys
me,
kind of picked on me because I was a Benning jump master, not a Bragg jump master. But hey,
you
I must
quick.
have impressed somebody well enough that you guys kept me around.
Oh, dude, we had a blast, man.
We
The
did.
the boys and girls back then, the team that we had, it was right. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about being an infantryman. Tell me what. I mean, as an infantryman, especially back in those days, man, it was when you first came in, it was like one set of MVGs per squad, and they were like the earliest technology stuff.
The stuff was old. It was,
Eh,
but we thought it was great stuff because that's all we had. You know,
right, right.
you
So,
know, just you know, it was different. Today's Army is definitely different, and I've been out now since '08, so what, 14 years, and so even in the 14 years that's passed, things were even different 14 years ago than they are today. When you look at, because I still am not a big part of the Army community around here, but I do go out to the camp every now and again, and I see some of the stuff that they're doing, and I'm like, wow, that's still echelons above where we were at. And then if you look back into the late '80s, early '90s, it's really just way out there advanced compared to what it was. You
uh,
know, so being an infantryman was not a fun task. It was difficult. It was difficult to accomplish your missions and get it done, but it happened. You know, good leadership all the way around. I've been blessed to work with some great NCOs and officers. Some not so great and some great. You know, but that's every job, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's every job.
I don't know if it was you, but somebody told me, said, if you got to pee, don't pee on a tree because rangers have to lay by all the trees.
I don't know if that was me or not, but I'll tell you one of the stories that really sticks in my mind about being at the school, and it just happened, was the accident at Pope. You know, that is stuck in my mind every year. It's just, and you see stuff on Facebook, and you see people posting pictures and talking about it, and it's just something that is always stuck in my mind. And I remember being there, and I remember because one of my buddies from my first duty station died that day. Mark Gibson, he was a staff sergeant in 2505, and yeah, he passed that day. And I remember me and Dakin we were arguing. It was around lunchtime. We were arguing who was going to go get lunch, pick it up from the trailer right there, and that's where that came through. And it could have been one of us tied up in it, and I just had no idea what was going on. But to look back at that every year and realize what happened, the sacrifice that those people had to make in training time, that's tough.
I remember the 20 millimeter round still going off in the aircraft, and just as we're running around trying to, take care of the living and get them evacuated and put the people out that were on fire. The rounds were still going off, and for a while we were running around. We were running around and not really understanding what had happened, right?
It took a minute before it dawned on me what happened.
Yeah, it was really wild. And after a while, we began to communicate with each other. Like JJ jumped in the like a 5-ton and started it up, and we started loading people in the back of the 5-ton. And I remember I was running in the front to move the Alice packs out of the way. It was a line of Alice packs where the jumpers were. And he just barreled over the Alice packs. He's just like, get out of the way. I don't care. Yeah. And he took off, and
that. And I remember, you might remember this, you may do, may don't, I don't know. I had that little white Isuzu pickup truck.
I remember your truck,
and as big as I am, a little white Isuzu pickup truck, wasn't really, but that's what I could afford back then, so that's what I had. We had actually put a person, he was still alive, in the bed of my truck, and I was going to take him to the hospital. Right. And then that's when the ambulances stuff started showing up, and we transferred him to an ambulance. And I still remember that just as clear as a bell. Yeah. It was a crazy day for us.
Oh wow, yeah. I remember us all like getting in a huddle after it was over, asking about the gut truck guy, right? It was the one guy that we were all so close to, because we saw him every day when the gut truck coming, and we were like, because the gut truck was just mangled.
It absolutely
just mangled, and somehow he saw it coming and had taken cover behind the pack shed, and all his his arm was burned.
His arm was burned, yes, sir. Absolutely. I remember that. Yeah. Have you been back to Green Ramp since they've redone it?
Yeah, I was there. God. I was there. It's a different place, right?
Yeah,
it's a different place.
My kid went to Afghanistan, and when he came back, we drove up to Fort Bragg, and I got there, and I told my wife, I said, yeah, I was stationed here. I know everything about Fort Bragg. I know everything about Fayetteville. We're good. Dude, I was so lost.
Oh yeah.
We couldn't find our hotel. I couldn't find the mall. I couldn't find anything on base. And we go to the Green Ramp, and I'm like, this isn't Green Ramp. There's all these buildings. Yeah. And I'm like, which one do we go to? It was phenomenal how much it had changed from when we were there. And to go there and see my kid come back from Afghanistan and greet him when he got off the plane, that was definitely a special time for me.
Amen. Colonel Williams says he's at the 82nd headquarters as Deputy G3 to Lloyd Austin when we heard the blast. That just horrific day.
Wow.
Gosh, wow. It was just.
It's definitely something that'll stick with you for the rest of your life if you were part of it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I wrote a essay about it, and I don't think it made. I don't think I'm actually writing a book, John. I got a book. I'm finishing up publishing called. Right now it's called Entangled at 4,000. Tells a story about Specialist Marshall on jump like 13 or so exiting a C-130. I think maybe it was a C-141, but I had a simultaneous exit, and our parachutes opened together, and my M1950 weapons case got hung up in PFC Friends anti-inversion net, and we began a leapfrog exercise down to the ground, and luckily we both walked away, but I read about it and lots of other stories in the book, so check out formerforce.com. You can figure out how to order a copy of the book. As soon as my mom gets done editing it, we'll publish it. But,
I told you were a smart guy at the beginning of this thing, writing books, getting published.
Oh my gosh. Have you seen the drone flying stuff I've been doing?
I have not.
Oh, you got to check it out, man. You got to check
I
it
have
out.
to check it out.
Yeah, flying drones and stuff, and really enjoying doing some of that. We're here with with Sergeant First Class retired John Thornton tonight, and hanging out, telling stories. He and I we're black hats together. We took a trip to Egypt, to Sinai one time, and
Yes,
he was
sir.
a staff sergeant and I was a sergeant. And the way we did things in the Advanced Airborne School was very interesting. And so we actually went over to teach a jump master refresher for a unit that was in Egypt. And I was in charge as a sergeant of the training and what we were doing. And John was the staff sergeant. And as soon as we got there, the command sergeant major wanted to chew us out, and he kept chewing John out, and John would kept pointing at me, and he's like, "You need to chew him out, sergeant major."
Yeah. I remember that distinctly, and I remember being at the gate trying to get from Israel to Egypt with all those bags of parachutes and stuff, and those guys with the guns thinking we were trying to do something weird. And they were not going to let us through, even though we had all this documentation from whoever it needed to be from. I don't know how high up the food chain it had went, but we had all this document. I didn't think they were going to let us through. Between that and that sergeant major, I thought we just wasted our time. Well, we ain't going to get nothing done here.
So is that what happened? Because I forget. So we flew into Israel and then went into Egypt. Is that right?
Yeah, we flew into Israel, and then we flew into Israel. We got met in Israel, and then got picked up, and then we went to the border of Egypt, and they weren't going to let us in. They finally did. And then we went to the one camp, stayed the night, and then flew in a helicopter down to South. I think it was called South Camp.
Yeah, North Camp and South Camp.
Yep.
Yeah, who was the gym? The guy that owned the gym. What was that guy's name? Oh my God.
Golly, I don't remember, but
Sharks Bay and Nama Bay and oh my gosh. I just talked to somebody that was over there that remembered the guy at the gym. Apparently he passed away a few years ago, but we were at that gym. We got there and we needed some copies made. And so we went to the staff duty office, and and we walked in and we had this thing, and we said, can we borrow the copier? And matter of fact, we'd even brought paper, I think.
Yeah.
We'd even brought paper with us. And so we go walking in there, and the staff duty is like, we're going to be here all night. We'll just make the copies. Y'all go on. And I was
that was one of the things we got in trouble for.
That was the main thing. That was it, dude. That was the big deal.
And they didn't want us to wear our black T-shirts ever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Remember, that was the other one. You guys will be in the same uniform we're in all day, every day. And we're like, when we're training, we wear these to differentiate so they know who we are, so they can get to us and ask their questions effectively instead of, hey, where's those black? They don't know our names.
Right.
Yeah.
It was fun. So Smiley, right? Sergeant Major Kennery, was that his name? He just smiled at us and just chewed us out, boy.
Oh, he tore us a new one, and it was hot, and we were sweating.
Well, you was in the gym playing ball.
Yeah. We had a good time there, man. I enjoyed that little trip.
We ended up at the what was the club? There was an actual bar on
the British bar that we played darts and stuff like that at. Yeah. I don't remember the names of. I can remember a lot of stuff. It's the little details about it, I don't remember, but I do remember that. That was awesome.
So the big picture story is that they sent the two of us to Egypt, to Sinai, for a unit that was rotating back to Bragg from a deployment, and they wanted to get the jump masters certified and recerted before they came back, so they would be ready to do operations right away, and we didn't have to wait. And so I'm very proud that you and I went over there and conducted a refresher for the battalion and had 0 failures. Everybody passed, and everybody met the minimum standard, and everybody was trained, and we had no issues at all. But that command sergeant major never came to get refreshed, did he?
No, and he didn't want anything to. I guess he thought we were there for a vacation. Is the way it sounded like to me. Is what he was. You guys aren't here for vacation. Don't have my staff duty making your copies. Oh, Sergeant Major, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
We were way too professional to do that.
Oh yeah.
They offered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It
So.
was a good time.
Oh yeah, great time. So, you gotta tell me a little bit about some insider details to being an RI, right? Come on. I never went to Ranger School. I never took that opportunity, so I can't say nothing. I didn't even take a chance.
I tell you just like I tell everybody else, and people say what they want to say. If you want it, you can do it. If I did it, anybody can do it. What is it difficult? Well, sure, but anything worth having should be a challenge. If it's not difficult, everybody would do it. And then what would the significance of it mean? I knew people who couldn't go to jump master school because they were afraid of heights or afraid of, the. It's hard. It's not easy, and it's not supposed to be easy. Ranger school the same way. It was difficult for a reason. If you can get the people out that quit easy, they shouldn't be there anyway. And so it was difficult for a reason. Mentally, physically demanding. I tell everybody, if you just stick to it, one foot in front of the other. One of my favorite analogies that I heard, and I don't remember when I heard it, how long ago it was. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you get through Ranger School? One day at a time, one foot in front of the other. And if you do that, you'll be successful. Listen, learn. If you fail, pick yourself up and try it again. It's that simple to me. I use that analogy a lot in life now with everything that I do. I did it with my children. I do it with people that I don't know, young people that ask me for financial advice. Not that I'm rich. I'm not. I don't even have. It's not like we have a lot, but what we do have, it came from using wisdom that was passed down to me. And if you pass that along and they pick it up, and how do you get money in the bank? You don't get it by just getting lucky and hitting the lottery. 5 here, 10 here, it adds up. Same concept. And so I've always considered myself to be more of a teacher than a doer. Like coaches, they're great at coaching. They might not be the best basketball player, but they're a great coach. I thought that was one of my strong suits, was teaching people, telling people, helping them learn, see their weaknesses and strengths, and use them to their advantage.
Amen. Amen.
Because even a weakness can be an advantage if you know how to use it, right?
That's right. That's right. If you're watching right now and you want to donate, you want to help, hey, I need a little bit of dollars to help do this and buy some more coins and things. You can support us at formerforce.com. We use PayPal as our backbone. That goes directly to Joe and I. We split everything that we're doing, and we're getting our paperwork together to be a nonprofit. Hopefully by the end of the summer we'll get that, and of course that takes money. Even we've got to hire lawyers and do all the paperwork, and so please help if you're watching. Formerforce.com. This is a project to love between Joe Benson and I. We're here tonight with John Thornton. He's telling stories about being a ranger, being a jump master, being a husband, being a father, and we're telling stories that his kids are going to be proud of. And one of these days, his grandkids will be able to say, "Hey, my dad was a hero. My granddad was a hero, and here's his story." And I'm proud to be here with you, telling it. Tell me about a time where you were cold and wet, and you thought that that things were rough.
How about we tie it into a jump story?
Yeah, let's do it.
I was stationed in Alaska. It was my first duty station. Remember in the newspaper, and it still may be in it, I don't know, I haven't seen a newspaper in years. Parade magazine used to be in the newspaper. Maybe it still is. They had come to Alaska to do a story on the long-range surveillance detachment that I was in, and going to do a photo op, do some interviews. And so we were going to do a jump for them. It was in December. I think it was December. I wouldn't swear to it, but I think it was December. It was cold, snow on the ground already, and up near Fort Greely, Alaska. So way up north, it was cold. We jumped out, hit the ground. We were told once we got on the ground, go to the turn-in point, and there would be buses waiting for us to take us to the base, the little base up there, and that's where we're going to stage out of to do all this stuff that they wanted us to do. We hit the ground. Me and my roomie, old Dave Murphy. The pictures you did in the video of us up there fishing, that was in Alaska, my first duty station. We did a reunion like 5 years ago, and all those guys were in my lurch team when I was a team leader.
That's awesome.
And so we were there on the ground, and we're like, "Where's the buses? Where's the trucks?" And the DZSO said, "Hey, there's a problem on that last jump." And so hold tight, the buses are en route. There was a problem. So one of the new guys in our unit had came over from the airborne battalion, one of the airborne battalion. There was one battalion, one of the companies came over and started being in the lurch detachment. He was a toe jumper. His snowshoe tails, we attached them to the M1950 weapons cases, got hung up at the ramp. You know how the downlocks go down? There's a little triangle hole.
Mm-hmm.
The snowshoe tail went in there and caused him to be a toe jumper. And so they were trying to figure all this out. We had a couple of guys in our detachment that hadn't gone to jump school yet. They volunteered to come over, and they were going to go to jump school. And they're in this C-130 flying around, and this dude's out there beating the side of the aircraft up. And these guys' eyes are as big as, pie plates, saying, "What the heck is going on? I don't want to do this no more." Well, needless to say, we were the last thing on anybody's mind is all the jumpers that were already on the ground. And me and my roommate, we had nothing in our rucksacks hardly, because it was all for show and tell, really. It was a dog and pony show for the Parade magazine. And we were on the drop zone. We found some paperboard honeycomb where they had done some drops up there, and we piled that up, cleaned it off, piled it up. We slept on that. We had 2 poncho liners between us. And it was like 25 below zero.
Whoa.
And him and I were laying there back to back, shivering and snoring and our teeth chattering at the same, just so cold.
Oh, wow.
And one other real cold story about a jump, a good friend of mine, John Humphreys, he was a E4, died. He was had a total malfunction, pulled his reserve, hit the ground, died. It was 59 below zero that night up in Alaska.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Sergeant Major G-Man, he says, maintain a tight body position.
But we look, if ever I had a boyfriend, it was him that night, man. We were huddled up, and I told him, I said, "Look, man, I got no love for you that way, but I'm sure you're my best friend right now." Those 2 poncho liners didn't do a daggone thing at 20-some below zero, Will. They didn't do much.
Hey, there were 4 of us one night out on Luzon Drop Zone. You know where the little buildings are out there at Luzon?
Yeah.
We were huddled up in there. It was misting, raining, and there was 4 of us, and we had 2 whoopies. It was cold.
Yes, sir.
We got close that night. Boy, it's like you're laying there praying for sunshine, right? It's like, I don't even want to sleep. I can't even sleep. Just pray that the sun comes up and I get some respite, and because you can't really get up and walk anywhere. There's no, it's cold everywhere.
No. Yeah. Boy, I loved my time in Alaska. It was beautiful. I don't miss the cold, and I sure as heck couldn't live there now. But, Will, another thing, too, that I'd be, if I didn't say it, I'd feel bad, is without all the people that support us, we could have never done what we did. Our wives, our children, our families. How many birthdays did you miss? Because I know you had 3 girls, right?
Yeah.
How many birthdays did you miss?
Continually, right?
How many Christmases or Thanksgivings were, even something as trivial in our minds as we thought, staff duty or CQ runner. How many things did we miss in our lives, and our wives or our significant others were back holding down the fort? When you got deployed, or when you went to, wherever it was you went, just to the field for 2 weeks, the amount of stress that was added to them for what we did. I don't consider myself a hero. Uh, Most of us don't. Um, but without them, we couldn't have even done what we did.
Amen.
At all. And
Amen.
so, my wife, she's an integral part of everything that we've done. The years we were married when I was in the Army and afterwards, our kids are all grown up. They're either went to college and finished, or they're working. They're being somewhat of a productive person in life. They're not living off the dole. We, by no means are we even close to being financially, in the top tier, but we worked hard, and without each other, we wouldn't have what we have. And I'm sure the same in your life. Everything comes with, sacrifices, and we couldn't have done what we've done without a bunch of sacrifices from our family members.
Well said. Well said. Take a minute and brag on your kids for me, if you don't mind.
Two of them did college. That's what they wanted to do. One of them's working out in California. He is a restaurant bar manager for a big company at, I'll never think of, Yosemite National Forest. They have a big resort out there, and he's the restaurant bar manager out there. Went to school at Florida State, got a degree in that, and that's what he does. Another one is in Orlando, and he has a degree in economics. He works for a company there. There was 4 boys and 1 girl. The one boy was in the Army, did that for a while. Now he's in the National Guard still, but now he's out in Texas trying to get his union card in plumbing. Again, like me, smart kid, but don't like college, and so he's a working guy. We have 2 that live in Pensacola, my daughter and my other son, the other twin, because remember I had twins.
Right.
The other twin lives in Pensacola. Again, they're doing their thing, and they're getting by. They're not asking for handouts, and they're not looking for anybody to give them anything. And so when you have kids that do the best that they can do, and they're just being as productive as they can be, that's all you can ask for. I used to tell my kids, if you want to be a trash guy, I'm okay with it. Be a good trash guy. Yeah. Be the best trash guy.
Yep.
You'll get somewhere in life, even if you're a trash man, if you really want to be.
Oh yeah. Tell me about some of the folks that mentored you. Was there somebody that took you under their wing? Who was your turd trainer and as a Black Hat?
Oh, I don't remember his name, but and I don't want to sound like I just don't remember his name. It was the black guy that wore the glasses, kind of a jovial type guy, kind of short, thin.
Oh wow!
I know. Glasses.
Yes. What is his name? I can't think of it either.
I don't remember his name, but boy, he used to crack me up, man. He'd come in there and critique me, and I had a hard time understanding him talk.
Was it Buffkin?
No. Buffkin was way after. It was.
What am I? Golly.
Buffkin didn't come in until we moved to the new facility.
Okay. More.
That's it. More.
Mo Better Butter.
It was Mo. That's right.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of his name. Yes, it was Mo.
So you were nomenclature.
Yes, sir. Yep, and it was Mo. I sure do remember that now. I couldn't remember his name. I know exactly what he looks like.
Hey, Mo's in the North Florida area.
Northeast or west?
I think it's Northwest Florida. I think I tracked him down and found a couple pictures of him at a job site. I think it was a aluminum company in close to Tallahassee. maybe a little
Okay.
south of Tallahassee, maybe a little east of Tallahassee that way. So
Okay.
we got to look him up, dude.
So
I'd
he's
love
about
to. I'd
2
love to get
hours.
it.
So
Yeah,
Tallahassee is about 2 hours east of my house, or where
yeah,
I'm from. I
yeah.
live in Crestview. I'm due north of Destin.
Oh yeah.
Due north of Destin. Um, and we love it here. We love it.
Oh
The only
yeah.
thing we don't like is it's getting more and more popular, and more people are moving here, and it's
Traffic.
kind of crowding us in. But other than that, not too cold in the winter.
That's right. That's
Summer's a
right.
little brutal. You don't live that far. You live in
No, yeah, in Dothan.
Dothan.
Yeah, yeah, just right up
I,
the road.
if I'm not mistaken, Will, from my house to Dothan, I can be there in like an hour and a
Oh yeah.
half,
Oh
if
yeah.
maybe an hour.
About an hour and a half. About an hour and a half.
Because I can be from here to Fort Benning in just a little bit over 2 hours.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no excuse we can't get together. Like last night I did an interview with Troy.
I seen it.
Oh, did you?
I
Good,
seen
good.
part of it. I watched part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was so close, right? It was 4 blocks away. I was like, we got to do it in person, even though it's so hard. So I tested a setup, and we tried to do a 3 camera system, and the microphone worked well. I was happy with everything. So, this is a learning curve for me too. Eventually, I feel a calling to get this oral history, to get these stories down. I think that they're so valuable, and we appreciate the support from everybody. Thank you so much for the folks that are supporting and listening. We're sitting here an hour into a discussion with John Thornton about his life and times, and just bragged on his kids, and he went out of his way to push his way into Edge about talking about his beautiful wife and the things that they've grown together.
Yep.
That's neat to hear you do things like
Well,
that,
we
right?
take them for granted, don't we? And sometimes my wife doesn't think that I appreciate all that she. I wouldn't be who I am today without her.
Yeah.
I mean, even the trivial things that they do for us that we don't think. My wife, I tried to grow my hair out one time, and she goes, "John, it looks horrible. And I met you with short hair, and I like short hair." So she cuts my hair every 2 weeks, whether it needs it or not. And that's something small, but it's important to her. So it's not really that insignificant when you think about it.
Amen.
And the things that they do for us on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, to help prop us up. So collectively, we're successful. It's not just me. It's not look at what I've done. It's look at what we've done.
Amen. That's a great attitude.
So we're in the process of building a workshop for our antique cars. She's into it, not as much as me. She's more into the shoes and the stuff, but she does like them, and she'll tell me, "John, don't do that. That's ugly. Do it this way." And 9 times out of 10, she's right. Picks good colors and does those things. So she's into it, and we're going to do some car shows and stuff. And I don't build anything that I won't drive. I'm not going to put it on a trailer and haul it somewhere. And so we're building a storage facility for those so we can work on them, me and my buddy. And we just living life, man, enjoying the time after the Army. It's been awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And you asked me about mentors, and there were several, and we got sidetracked looking for Mo's name, couldn't think of it. My first team leader, and Lurs was a mentor. Without him, I probably would have not been successful there. We called him Big Daddy Baker, a big old tall 6'6" guy, but big around as my finger. But he was a tall guy. And there was other ones. There were some twins in the Army, the Myers twins. They both became sergeant majors. They were very, very a big part of who I am, Bennett, very knowledgeable, very smart, very well put together guy, just knew what had to be done, and he made it happen. And there's been a lot of them.
Joe Davis is watching. He says, "Nice." As you start talking about your mentors, we really appreciate those that mentor us, right? Dan Bennett was an amazing leader, right?
Look, would he call you out if you were wrong?
Yeah, but
then
not.
he'd pat you on the back but he'd pat you on the back if you were right.
Oh yeah.
But now he didn't tear you up just to tear you up now. But
Right.
he'd scuff you up a little bit if you needed it because that was his job to do so. And so he did it. He took advantage of that position to make us all better. He didn't take advantage of his position to assert authority over us.
Right, right.
Yeah, very, very well-rounded man. Some of the best guys I ever worked with were at the Jumpmaster School. I was very fortunate to be in units throughout my career that had some great non-commissioned and commissioned officers that, some of them not so great, but hey, that's everywhere.
Right, right. Weren't you the tower committee chief when we had an accident there at the tower? Were you still there?
No, I was never the committee chief except when maybe I was for a while. Well, my brain's going. Yeah, but I don't think we had an accident while I was there, but there was an accident shortly after I left, I believe. Didn't the guy get hooked up right and fell?
Yeah.
And he survived, but then went home. But didn't he survive and went to the hospital and he survived and they sent him home and then he died?
Right.
Yeah. I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
I didn't know if you were still there or not. For some reason.
But I heard about it.
Yeah, crazy. When did you leave the school?
Sometime in '96.
Yeah, that's when I left too.
Yeah. It was '96, and I came down here and did this for a while. Went to Korea. Had a great time in Korea. I was a Lurch Detachment First Sergeant in Korea. Loved my time over there. Had some great guys work for me over there. As a matter of fact, I was at our local Winn-Dixie one night, and I see this guy in some BDUs. 7th Special Forces Group moved down here and took up a camp here outside, in between Fort Walton Beach and Crestview. They're there off of Duke Field. And I'm looking at this guy and his BDUs, and I'm like, I know that guy. And, of course, my wife says, well, you say that about everybody. And I'm like, no, I know that guy. He used to work for me. Where? I said, let me think about it. It'll come to me. I couldn't, names, they're gone. But faces, they still stick. And he turned around. I seen his name tag, and it said Pendergrass. I said, that's Chuck Pendergrass. He was an E5, worked for me in Korea as an assistant team leader. And I walked over and started talking to him, and my wife shakes her head. She goes, you know everybody.
Yeah.
I said, no, but if you're in business for yourself, you better know a lot of people because that's how things get done, knowing people.
Amen to that.
Networking,
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of people in this area that just hang out here after they retire. It's a great place to retire. Where you live's a great place.
Oh, yeah.
There's more and more people leaving Florida and migrating a little bit north to Alabama just to have that space,
Yeah. Is there a time that you can think back on when you found yourself having to defend yourself or having to help someone who was injured? Other than we've already talked about the crash. Was there a time when you were calling medevacs trying to help somebody, or maybe even shooting your weapon trying to defend something?
No. Well, I'll be honest. I never got deployed to a combat zone. That's weird for an infantry guy. I know. We can call it what we want to. Luck of the draw, fate, right place, wrong time, wrong place, right time, whatever. But I'll tell you a story, and this happened. I was still in the military, but it was a civilian thing. I was in my front yard, me and my kids, pulling some weeds out of one of our flower beds, and I hear this lady yelling. I mean, she's screaming. And I look down in her cul-de-sac, and she's running, holding a little 2-year-old boy. The sister had accidentally pushed him in the pool and his little baby stroller, and her little play doll stroller. He was sitting in there, and she got too close. He fell in the pool, and mom was inside and not taking, she was vigilant, but not real vigilant. And he had fallen in and didn't know how long he had been in there, and he wasn't breathing. And I had to jump into action and put put into action the things that I'd been taught in the military. Man, I'm telling you what, a 2-year-old, now you're really thinking, because you're like, holy smokes, I could hurt this kid just by trying to help him.
Right.
And I yelled at my kids. I said, go inside and tell your mom to call 911 right now.
Right.
Don't worry about why, because my wife is like, no, why are we calling 911? La,
Right.
la, la, la,
Right.
la, 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 you know? And I
Right.
said, don't ask questions. Don't let her tell you no, just do it. And I get down there and I take her from him and lay him on the ground. And me, and then a neighbor came up and we started performing CPR on this 2-year-old kid. And he lived. He survived.
Amen.
And I'm telling you what, that day and the day at Green Ramp, probably the scariest, worst days of my life, trying to, do things that we were trained and taught to do.
Right, right. It's interesting how you're presented with a fight or flight situation to save someone's life, how into the moment we are, how interested we are in helping our other fellow human beings stay with us, right?
Absolutely. And as far as I know, we don't live in that neighborhood anymore. But as far as I know, we stayed there probably another 8 years. As far as I know, hopefully that kid is doing great. We don't, we didn't stay in contact or anything, but your training just takes over. You don't even really 100% really think about what you're doing. It's just reaction.
Yeah.
Remember all the drills you did in the military? I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. I'm up, he sees. You don't run through the woods saying I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. You just do it.
Right,
And the
right.
same thing that day. My instincts took over. This kid was in need. The mom was a wreck, as
I
she should
bet.
be,
Yeah.
as she should be. And my wife was just like, "How did you know?" How? I'm like, just took over.
Amen. Amen.
Ambulance showed up. They took him. I was, did nothing extraordinary. Just a great opportunity for me to excel on things that were taught to me over the years, and it was awesome. So
They say that there's no such thing as an atheist in the foxhole.
I've heard that many times.
Take an opportunity, if you don't mind, to share a little bit about your spirituality, with me. What kept you going on those late nights? And
Um, of course, not everybody's as religious as and as they should be or could be all the time. I definitely believe in God. My wife and I, she prays probably a lot more than me, for me. But yeah, definitely, we believe in God. We definitely have. There's been some nights out there that I've prayed about, things that are going on either in my family life or in my, military career, or yeah, you just, sometimes you're met with a situation that you don't know how to handle without doing that, and you know, uh, I went through a divorce. It was tough. Thought about it 1,000 times. What could I have done better? What could thought about it, prayed about it. Sometimes life just hands you something that you can't handle on your own. You know,
amen.
um, it's tough.
Yeah, yeah. Do you? What's like your favorite music? It's rock music, right?
Absolutely. I got after I got out of the army, I couldn't find a job. It was tough in here in 98. That's when I retired in 98. I mean,
Two
2008.
thousand
I'm
eight.
sorry,
Yeah. Hmm.
2008. I retired in 2008, and finding a job was hard, especially making enough money to try to make ends meet with 5 kids running around the house, fixing to go to college and all that stuff. And so I took a job at Waffle House right out of the army, and as a manager. A friend of mine was HR, and she got me a job. And shortly thereafter, I told my wife, I said, I can't do this, man. This is like being in the army again. I'm raising a bunch of privates. They don't show up to work on time. They got the wrong uniform on. They're late. They don't show up. They don't call. They come to work and do whatever they want to. And when you say something to them, I'm going to go complain to HR, whatever. And so I said, if I get an opportunity to get on base, I'm going to go. And so I applied 50, 60 times on base to get a job. And finally, I got a call. Hey, we want to hire you on base, civil service, blah blah blah. So I took that job, and that I did that for 10 years, and that's where I learned how to do heating and air conditioning. And best decision I ever made in my life was to learn how to do this career field. It's now it's not only my livelihood; it's something that I really like to do, and we get to give back. Sometimes you got people that aren't as fortunate and need a little help. Um, Take an old part off of an air conditioner and put it on theirs and make it work, and don't charge them, and they're happy. You
Hey,
know,
right?
you
Yeah.
can't do that. Can you do that for everybody if you own a business? No, but if you can, sometimes you can.
Yeah.
And so I don't know exactly. I don't remember what your question was. I got a little bit off track. Um,
The question was about the kind of music that you
oh,
like.
and
It's
and so
interesting.
and
Yeah.
well, to get to that, the guy that I was paired up with on bass, pure straight country, and he would not listen to anything else. His name was Buck, and his nickname was Buck. His last name was Rogers, Buck Rogers from 25th Century. He was born on Christmas Day. So half of the day his parents celebrated Christmas. The other half he called it Buckmas.
Bucklands.
And he loved country. And I'm like, Buck, I can't listen to that 9 hours a day with you in this truck. I can't do it, buddy. He said, I tell you what, I'll meet you in the middle and we'll play some other stuff. It wasn't much better, but it was not pure country. But yeah, I like the old classic rock.
Oh my gosh.
There's some of the other. I can listen to some country. I grew up on it. My dad, the old Hank Williams, the Tammy Wynette's, and the Dolly Partons, and the Fats Domino, and all that stuff. I listened to all that stuff from back in the day. And but I'm a rock guy.
I got this for us. I'm gonna play it. I don't know why. I just feel like it. Let's do it. It's called "Smash Your Enemies."
And my buddy now likes hardcore rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I've heard this or not.
No, you haven't. You haven't. I'm hanging out here with Sergeant First Class retired John Thornton. We're telling stories. It's playing "Smash Your Enemies" by Thomas Harudek. Lots going on in the world these days, and it's really fun sitting here and sharing a drink and telling stories about the old days, the times we went off to Egypt and Israel, and you climbed up Mount Sinai, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I got to climb there, and I got to also climb the highest peak at Camp Casey in Korea.
Oh, fun.
Soisan Mountain. That's the highest place there. I like being a little adventurous. I'm not a daredevil type guy, but yeah, I like kind of stuff like that. My wife and I are really starting to want to do a lot more traveling as we've gotten older, and just seeing everything else that the world has to offer. We've done a few trips. That picture you had of her with the mahi-mahi,
Yeah.
that was down in St. Thomas at the Virgin Islands. We just like to get out and go and do things. And I got to go to Cuba. I did get to go to Cuba.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. Same kind of scenario. Had a unit down there that was it was a National Guard unit from Massachusetts, Rhode Island, somewhere up there. And when they got back home, they were going to take another rotation over to, I believe, Iraq or Afghanistan. I'm not for sure which one now. I don't remember. It's been a while. And they wanted a team of RIs to go over there from here and do some patrol base, patrolling, different type of combat operation stuff with them. And so I got to do that. That was pretty cool.
Was there ever really a cool mission that you did as part of LRS? Long Range Surveillance Detachment is what LRS-D stands for. That means like going way out beyond enemy lines and sitting many times for a long time and waiting for a target to show up or and get some
Absolutely.
intel or whatever, or
Absolutely.
even have a sniper available to
Right.
take out a. I mean, I see that some of the stuff's going on in Ukraine right now. I'm like, man, if I'm a Russian general, I'm not going to show my face.
No, sir. I'm going to keep that rank off my hat, buddy. Um, yeah, we did a lot of really what I thought were cool missions in Alaska. We would always get deployed out to all the chain islands, the Aleutian chain islands, Adak, Kodiak, and just go down there and just set up for days and just observe everything that's going on. See, and Alaska's not that far from Russia, and there would be sometimes we would be on some of the Bering Islands or the Aleutian chains and just observe. It was pretty cool. Um, Never really, when I was in Korea, did we ever get to go up to the DMZ and actually observe anything going across the DMZ. But we did a few cool missions there too. And boy, let me tell you something. If you were in Korea,
Right.
that terrain is something else, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
There
Uh,
ain't no flat terrain unless it's a rice paddy, and that's filled
yeah,
with water.
yeah, and that's filled with water and smells horrible. Be a good way to hide from somebody because they wouldn't want to come in there looking for you. But other than that, that's horrible. Nothing's flat, and it's cold. I never thought Korea would be that cold. It was, although all the episodes of MASH we watched, you would think you would figure it out, And uh, I enjoyed my time in both of those units. Really, really super, super great people. I had some awesome NCOs that worked for and with me in Korea. Um, just super guys, super missions over there. Got to learn a lot, got to do a lot. It was great.
Oh, I can't imagine all the cool things, Just the thought of even just the commo gear and some of the commo shots you guys would have to make, right? Get old
Yeah.
Singars radios and inverted Y antennas and
The
stuff.
the one the one art the one commo guy that we had, and now Ed Connor. Do you know that name, Ed Connor?
It sounds familiar.
Commo guy lived at the 82nd, loved the
Okay.
82nd, 82nd Lurs. Just really probably one of the smartest radio guys I've ever met in my life. Probably is the smartest radio guy I've ever met in my life. And I'm not talking bad about him. Trust me, I'm not. He's stuttered. And you're thinking, a commo guy that stutters. But man, he could tell you. We were in Korea, and I want to say we were speaking to people in Australia. He can make it happen.
Oh yeah.
Really super intelligent combo guy. Um, Staying in a position with 3 or 4 guys for 4 or 5 days in a row, the space wasn't big enough for me. More or less 4 of us in all of our gear, and you just
Yeah.
make it work, and you build a bond.
Yeah.
Black,
Yeah.
white, green, red, yellow, purple. Didn't matter if you're from California, Texas, Vermont, Massachusetts, wherever. You came together and you stuck it out together and you worked through whatever situations you had. You worked through them.
Oh yeah.
You had a good time when you had a good time, but when it come time to get down to business, you came together and you made it happen.
Do you remember a time you partied too hard?
Yeah, yeah. I could tell you a big one. My wife hates this story.
Better not tell it then. Pick another one.
No, no. You know the Grog Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny got picked to do American whiskey, and they had 1.75 liter bottles of everything they were dumping in, except wine comes in a smaller bottle. But anyway, I got American whiskey, and they get up there, and everybody's pouring in their stuff, and then they were like, next is Sergeant First Class Thornton. He's representing blah, blah, blah. American whiskey's added to the grog, whatever, whatever. And I get up there, and you're supposed to taste it and then pour the rest in. Well, I got up there, and I didn't drink the whole bottle. The story gets exaggerated. It does. But I did drink a lot more than any one man should drink at any one time, for sure. And I could feel it even before I left the table after I poured it in at the punch bowl. And I'm walking back to my seat, and I already started sweating. And my wife, I sat down, and my buddies were around us, my wife, and everybody's there. The women are all dressed to the hilt, looking great as they do. And it hit me, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am in trouble. So I get up, and I go to the restroom, I come back, and I sit down, and my buddy had the bread bowl, and he was passing bread. I yacked in that bowl at the table.
Oh no!
I cleaned myself up, and we set that off to the side. And my wife said I was acting like I was whispering stuff in her ear, but you know, when you don't remember, when you don't know what you're doing anymore, Will. She said I was yelling in her ear all kinds of stuff that wasn't appropriate. And so my commander, he come up to her and said, "Ma'am, you're going to have to take him home." And she says, "No, I spent all day getting my hair done, getting this dress on. I'm not going anywhere." And so they helped me outside. We get up. Well, I'm in my dress blues now. I'm dressed up to the hilt now. They finally convinced her to come outside and take me home. By the time she got there, I'm in nothing but pants and socks. I had taken my coat, my shirt, my tie, my shoes off, and I probably would have taken my pants and everything else off if they hadn't stopped me. I didn't even know what I was doing, Will. I slept in the truck. She tried to get me out. She couldn't get me out of the truck. My wife was not very big. She couldn't get me out, so she let me sleep it off. I wake up at like 6 a.m. The street light was shining in my face, so it kind of woke me up. I go inside, and I didn't even go into the bedroom. I refused. I laid right on the sofa because I figured she'd kick me out anyway. And so finally she comes out there and she goes, "Go to the bed." So I go, okay. So I went there and I slept until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And she comes in there and I said, "All I want to know is, did I touch anybody else's wife inappropriately so I know if I'm going to go to work on Monday and get punched in the face?" She said, right. No, you didn't. I said, okay. She goes, "But I'll tell you the rest of it." I said, okay. Well, I think she told me a story and told me that I told her I'd buy her a $2,000 dog. And she still swears to that today. And I might have, I don't know, probably did. But I said, "Honey, no, I know I ruined your night. Wherever you want to go, I'll take you to the most expensive restaurant in town. I owe you that." And that's the worst one. Yeah, that was horrible.
The bread bowl.
Bread bowl, yeah. Now everybody knows. Now the world knows.
All right, what kind of whiskey? What was it?
I think it was Jack Daniels.
Oh.
Yeah.
Handle a Jack.
Yeah, and I put a hurt on it.
It hurt, John.
And it didn't help. Look, Will, it didn't help that my wife will attest to this. Everybody it was 200 people there. They were chanting, "Go, go, go," and clapping, "Yeah." And I was like, okay. Next thing you know, lights out, buddy.
Oh, Ranger games.
Yeah. When I got to work on Monday, my commander was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." He goes, "You're not allowed to participate no more." The battalion commander said, "You can't play no more with that game." I said, "Good call."
Good call.
Next year they let me do it again, but I knew.
Just a little taste.
I just tasted it, enough to wet my whistle.
Oh my gosh! It's you can only be the hero one time.
One time, buddy. After that, everybody knows your game. You're done.
Oh, we're here with John Thornton telling stories. Sergeant First Class retired Ranger. Do you remember when the battalion commander failed jumpmaster's course?
I do.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
And if I'm not mistaken, one of the 1-stars said he'll graduate, and then our buddy the 2-star said, "No, sir, it doesn't work that way." Yeah. I remember that. Made him come down and apologize, and that doesn't happen very often. And I take my hat off to the 2-star that made him do that. I mean, that was the right answer, because that story would get out that guy didn't graduate honorably, honestly. And that's not good up for him either. That wouldn't have been good for him either.
Oh, yeah.
Great call. I do remember that. And I also remember when and it wasn't that guy, but it was another commander, not a battalion commander or brigade commander, but it was another commander that somebody come down heavy and tried to get us to give him a go because Buffkin, remember Buffkin?
Mm-hmm.
Buffkin gave him his critique, and the guy refuted it, and they wanted him to get a go. And who was the commander? Gosh, Will, my brain gone.
Yeah.
One of the commanders called me, and I was filling in for Dan. He was gone, maybe knee surgery or something that time.
Right,
So I was
right.
filling in, as the
Yep.
chief. And they were like, hey, we got to get this guy a go. I said, no, sir. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, it doesn't work that way, sir. You can't just, nobody, a sergeant major or an officer can't come down and throw their weight around because then we have no authority if that happens. And I said, if you make us turn over Buffkin's decision, you got two people to fire. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you got to fire Buffkin because if you're saying he ain't good, we got to get rid of him. And if you fire him, you got to fire me too. And he was like, really? I'm like, really? And you know what? You should be saying the same thing. If you're going to come down here and override my instructors, then I got to go too.
Amen. Amen.
Guess what happened? They made that guy come back and retest. And he passed. He was just excited, And he come back and he passed. And that's fine. That's the way it should be. I do remember.
Yeah, yeah. It was a really cool place and time. You were on a couple of accident investigations, weren't you?
I was on one for sure. The young lady that was a toe jumper.
Yeah.
If I remember that. A lot of insight sitting in one of those. If you've never had to do it, I mean, you learn a lot. What I liked about that one more, I was on that one and another one for something else later in my career. But what I liked about that one is they were like, hey, look, we're on a fact-finding mission. We're not on a finger-pointing mission. If in our fact-finding we find out that there's a reason to point a finger, then that's different. And I'm like, I like that because that's what it should be. Let's figure out why this happened first and then worry about if there's somebody to punish.
Right.
Not let's knee-jerk reaction and punish somebody and then find out later that wasn't the cause. And so, yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Now, was the one you were on where she lived, but she landed barefoot in the backyard, or she passed away?
She died. She died, but she didn't have her boots on.
Right.
And that was one of the things that just struck me odd. And I posed a lot of questions about that. Why would her boots be off? And I just threw out some stuff, and they kind of listened. And hey, maybe because she didn't tie her boots in knots like most men do. I tied mine in knots all 21 years, 7 months, and 11 days. That's the way I was taught. Tie a square knot and then tuck it in, and your boots won't come untied. And did she tie them in bows? I don't know. But yeah, she lost her boots and she landed in a backyard, but she passed, yeah.
And it was all caused because her M1950 weapons case wasn't tied down and it caught and flew up and the static line went under it. Absolutely. And then got wrapped up, right?
Yep.
That was a time. And look, if you're a short person, there's some dangers to jumping out of an airplane. Absolutely. If your stuff isn't tied down properly.
Right. She was short, not very heavy, a lot of equipment. Even if she wasn't jumping a lot, she might not have that full combat load that an infantry guy might have, but she still, for her size, it was a lot. And so yeah, lots of dangers in jumping. One of my battle buddy from basic training died in a halo operation at JRTC.
No.
Yeah, I put him through jump master school at Fort Bragg before I left from there. Tatum was his name, and he ended up going somewhere else and then coming back, and he went to the 82nd LURS, and he died on a halo jump at JRTC.
Our training was dangerous, man.
Yes.
Dangerous training.
Dangerous. You know, Ranger School's dangerous, Jump School's dangerous, Jump Master School's dangerous. You know, all the other stuff that we do, weapons, daily weapons. You know, shooting weapons all the time, and you're getting the new guys in that don't have the experience, and you're training them to learn how to use the weapon systems that they have. And you know, remember when we got locked down because the guy shot at Tau Field?
Yeah, Kreutzer.
Yeah. I mean, so all the things that we do, not just combat related stuff. It's just the training stuff and people and how the military affects them. It's difficult.
Well, I've enjoyed hanging out with you tonight, John. It's been a lot of fun,
me too,
man.
buddy.
It has.
Like I said, we'll have to get together and do something. Do something together.
Yeah.
The summertime's perfect, man. The weather down here's great. We got the beach. We got swimming pool. Come on down this way.
Sounds good.
Tell you what, you call me. We'll set up something where you come down here and set up your show down here. I promise you, if you could set it up, we could get somewhere. I can get you, try to get you out at the Ranger camp. Maybe we could even do it out there. We're going to have a big reunion June 24th, 5th, and 6th of a bunch of RIs that were in my era. And, but anytime, if we can get 4 or 5 of them together, do your little show, you can talk to a bunch of different guys that are really, really, really sharp guys, really smart guys, really serve their country well.
I would love to. So let's work it out. Let's work it out. So I really appreciate it.
You got my phone number. I got yours. We'll stay in contact that way and see what we can make happen for you.
I love it. Well, thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate it. John, I'm gonna give you the last word. This is something that we're gonna put together, and do you have a closing message?
Well, I just appreciate you inviting me to do it. Everybody's version of a hero is something different. No matter what your job is in life or where life takes you, everybody's definition of a hero. It could be our parents, a mentor when we were in school, that police officer down the street, or the firefighter down the street, that soldier, that airman, whatever. Everybody's definition of a hero is different, and we all have them, whether we come out and say it or not. I know I have mine. And I don't know if what I did to help somebody along the way. Hopefully it was something along the way that I was able to help somebody do. And I really appreciate you taking the time to allow me to do this with you. And I already told my wife whether I didn't even know how you supported yourself, but we're going to jump on board and do something to help you out. And then I'll definitely help you out to try to get down here and meet a bunch of other guys. A lot of guys just like me, Ranger, Airborne, 82nd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd Ranger Battalion, 7th Group. I meet a lot of those guys here still today that are retiring. I'm working with a contractor that was at 7th Group as an engineer, and now he's retired. Now he's a civilian building contractor, and I'm working with him doing his air conditioning work on his buildings that he's renovating and then selling them. And just there's so many of us down here. This is it's a land of opportunity for somebody like you to come down here and glean a lot of these stories and just add to what you're doing.
Well, sounds good. Well, thanks. Formerforce.com, everybody. That's where you can go to support. I love you, John. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Take care. Have a good evening.